1952, the Daimler Radford Works, Holyhead Road, Coventry. A small 4x4 crawls out of the assembly hall under a grey English sky. 2 men inside, no turret on the first variant, just steel plate folded into a hull barely 6 feet wide, barely 6 feet tall, open at the top, painted olive drab. A pintle for a single machine gun. Officers watching from the line shake their heads. It looks like a toy, a child's idea of an armoured car. Too small to fight, too light to absorb a hit, too cramped to live in. The British Army has just spent 5 years and 1 full development cycle to produce this, the smallest combat vehicle in frontline British service. The skeptics are wrong. Over the next 4 decades, this little machine will fight in every British colonial war. It will patrol the jungles of Malaya, the wadis of Aden, the rivers of Borneo, the streets of Belfast, the deserts of Iraq. It will serve in over 36 nations. It will be exported to Jordan, Sri Lanka, Nigeria, India, Rhodesia, Canada, and Australia. It will outlast its intended replacement by a full year, and in the year 2025, more than 70 years after its birth, it will still be fighting. Its designation was the FV701. Its name was the Ferret, and it was the smallest armoured vehicle ever to outlive every tank built to replace it. To understand why the Ferret existed, you need to understand the problem Britain faced in 1947. The Second World War was over, the Empire was not. From Malaya to Kenya, from Cyprus to Hong Kong, British forces were policing a global archipelago of crisis, insurgencies, border raids, communist uprisings, decolonization riots. Each demanded a vehicle that could move fast on poor roads, carry a small crew, mount enough firepower to deter ambush, and survive a rifle round at close range. The existing scout cars were finished. The Daimler Dingo, designed in 1939, was tired and cramped and carried no turret. The Humber Scout Car was worse. American Lend-Lease vehicles were being returned. Britain needed a successor, and it needed one that could fight a tank war in Germany and a guerrilla war in the jungle on the same chassis. In October 1948, the War Office issued the development contract to Daimler at Coventry, the same firm that had built the Dingo, the same Radford works that had been bombed by the Luftwaffe in the Coventry Blitz of 1940. The first prototype was completed in 1949. The first production vehicle entered British Army service in 1952. The vehicle itself was a masterpiece of disciplined engineering. It weighed 3.7 tons. The hull was welded steel, 6mm at the rear, 16mm at the front, enough to stop a rifle round, not enough to stop a heavy machine gun. The British accepted that trade. Power came from a Rolls-Royce B60 engine. 6 cylinders, 4.2 litres, 129 horsepower running on petrol. This was not a tank engine. It was a high-quality automotive engine built to run on whatever fuel was available in a desert, a jungle, or a colonial fuel depot. The transmission was the masterpiece, a Daimler fluid flywheel mated to a Wilson preselector epicyclic gearbox, 5 forward gears, 5 reverse gears, and here was the trick that no other vehicle of its class could match. The Ferret could drive backward at the same speed it drove forward, 58 miles per hour in either direction with 1 lever throw. An ambushed crew did not need to turn around. They simply selected reverse and accelerated. The drivetrain was permanent 4x4 with independent suspension on every wheel, 16 inches of vertical travel, run flat tyres that could carry the vehicle home with all 4 punctured. Operational range on road, 190 miles. Crew, 2 men, sometimes 3 on later marks. The first variant, the Mark I, had no turret, just a pintle for a Bren or a Browning machine gun. The Mark II added a small one-man turret with a 30 caliber Browning. Later marks would carry the Vickers Vigilant anti-tank missile, then the 4-round swing-fire missile system on the Mark V with a 4-kilometre reach. In total, over a 19-year production run from 1952 to 1971, 4,409 Ferrets rolled out of the Radford Works. The British Army issued them to every armoured regiment, every armoured car regiment, every RAF regiment squadron, and every parachute squadron. Every cavalry trooper learned the canted steering wheel, the noise of the B60 engine bouncing inside the hull, and the smell of hot petrol and gun oil. By 1956, the Ferret was in combat. Now, before we get into where this car actually fought and why it refused to die, if you are enjoying this deep dive into British engineering and military history, hit subscribe. It takes a second, costs nothing, and helps the channel grow. Malaya, 1956. The 1st King's Dragoon Guards took over from the 11th Hussars on the 26th of June. The regiment was based across 3 locations: Seremban, Kuala Lumpur, Johor Bahru, Mantin Pass, the steep jungle road between Kuala Lumpur and Seremban, was the main ambush corridor for the Malayan communist insurgents. The Ferrets patrolled it day and night. On the night of the 6th of March 1957, a B Squadron party under Corporal Durench engaged a section of the Malayan Republic Liberation Army. The section leader, Cheong Fat, was killed. His comrade Tak Lan was wounded but escaped into the jungle. It was a small action, 2 men against 2 men. The Ferret had proven it could fight in close jungle at night against a determined enemy. Then came Aden. In February 1957, a flight of RAF Regiment Ferret Mk pushed up the Wadi Mablaka toward the Yemeni frontier. Number 10, Squadron RAF Regiment was operating against tribal raiders. In the action that followed, Flight Lieutenant L.G. Calvert was awarded the Military Cross. Sergeant J.F. Molyneux was awarded the Military Medal. Both citations specifically named the Ferret Mk. In 1964, Operation Stopper was launched in the Radfan Mountains. The 4th Royal Tank Regiment under Lieutenant Colonel Brian Watkins led the armoured element. Sergeant T.E.F. Silverson received the Military Medal for, in the words of the citation, leading his Ferret troop with great skill and personal courage during a withdrawal under fire. Among the troop commanders that year was a young lieutenant named Michael Rose, 21 years old, commanding 7 Troop B Squadron. He led patrols through the Wadi Therma past a feature the men called Paddy's Field. 3 decades later, Lieutenant Rose would return to public attention as General Sir Michael Rose, commander of United Nations forces in Bosnia. The boy in the Ferret turret became the man who saved Sarajevo. The Ferret found its hardest theatre in Northern Ireland. The locals nicknamed them Daleks, after the Doctor Who villain, because of the small revolving turret. From 1969 to the early 1990s, Ferrets patrolled border roads in Fermanagh, Armagh, and Tyrone, where the Provisional Irish Republican Army planted landmines as heavy as 600 pounds. On the 13th of May 1972, during the Battle of Spring Martin in Belfast, Corporal Alan Buckley of the King's Own Scottish Borderers was sitting in the turret of his Ferret on the White Rock Road when an IRA sniper shot him. He was 22 years old. His platoon laid down covering fire. The medical officer climbed onto the turret to reach him. He died of his wounds. 300 paratroopers were sent to back up the borderers that night. 2 years later, on the 2nd of May 1974, around 40 provisional IRA fighters armed with rifles, RPGs, and improvised mortars attacked the deanery barracks of the 6th Battalion Ulster Defence Regiment at Clogher in County Tyrone. Inside the perimeter sat 3 Ferrets of 3 Troop, a squadron, 1st Royal Tank Regiment. Their commander ordered the Brownings to fire. For 25 minutes, the Ferrets traded rounds with the attackers across the village. The IRA withdrew across the border. The Ferrets had held the line. The Ferrets' last major British operation came in 1991, Operation Granby, the First Gulf War. The Queen's Royal Irish Hussars deployed under Lieutenant Colonel Arthur Denaro, a man recovering from a polo accident with a metal plate in his skull. The regiment formed a small Ferret force group around regimental headquarters. The lead vehicle was named Tulliard. Its commander was Warrant Officer J.C. Muir, the regimental sergeant major, a man from County Tyrone in Northern Ireland. Its driver was Corporal Desmond Black from the same village. Tulliard was originally a Mark I, an open-topped variant. Mid-campaign, the crew dismounted a turret from a non-runner and welded it on. They called it the Mark I Plus. During the breach into a wreck, Tulliard hit 2 mines. The first was an anti-personnel device, minor damage. The second was a heavy anti-tank mine that lifted the entire vehicle off the ground and slammed it back down. The crew were uninjured. The improvised turret had saved Muir's life. Over the following days, 2 Ferrets corralled and processed 147 Iraqi prisoners of war. After the ceasefire, Tulliard cleared bunkers along the Basra Road. 39 years after entering service, the Ferret was still fighting wars. On paper, the Ferret had rivals. In practice, it buried them. The Soviet BRD-M1 entered service in 1957, 5 years after the Ferret. It was bigger, heavier. It carried a heavier machine gun. It could swim across rivers. The BRD-M2 of 1962 added a 14.5mm heavy machine gun in a turret. Together, the 2 Soviet vehicles outproduced the Ferret by more than 4-1. But Soviet doctrine was reconnaissance by stealth. Observe, report, withdraw. The British doctrine was reconnaissance by force. Push forward, draw fire, identify the enemy, kill what you can. The Ferret was built for that mission. The BRD-M was not. The American answer was even more telling. In 1962, the United States Army adopted the M114 Scout vehicle, aluminum hull, cramped crew, a heavy machine gun in a small turret. It looked like a tracked Ferret. It was a disaster. In Vietnam, M114s sank in mud. They overheated. They threw tracks. And when they hit mines, the flat aluminum belly tore apart. Per the official United States Army history, a mine that would damage an M113 would, In the words of the report, blast an M114 in half. The vehicle was withdrawn from Vietnam in November 1964. In 1973, General Creighton Abrams ordered it withdrawn from frontline service entirely. That same year, 1973, the British Army accepted the FV721 Fox. The Fox was the official Ferret replacement, 6 3/4 tons, aluminum armour, a 30mm Aden cannon. It looked like a serious upgrade. The Fox had problems from the start. Its tall turret made it top-heavy. Crews suffered rollovers. The engine overheated. The gearbox failed. Reliability never recovered. 325 vehicles were built. The British Army withdrew the Fox in 1993. The Ferret it was supposed to replace was withdrawn in 1994, 1 year later. The intended successor died first. Even more strangely, the British Army took the Fox turrets that had failed and welded them onto Scorpion hulls to create a stopgap called the Sabre. The Sabre served until 2004. The Fox turret outlived the Fox vehicle by 10 years. The Ferret outlived all of them. Today, surviving Ferrets serve as collector vehicles. The Daimler Ferret Owners Club in Britain numbers in the hundreds. Running examples sell for between £6,000 and £42,000, depending on condition and mark. The Bovington Tank Museum holds multiple examples. The Imperial War Museum holds a UN peacekeeping example that ran continuously from 1979 to 1984. The National Army Museum in London holds a ferret with the words, "Just Married," still graffitied on its hull from a Belfast patrol in 1974. 1952. The Daimler Radford Works, Coventry. A small 4x4 rolling out of the assembly hall under the doubtful eyes of officers who thought it was a toy. It was underpowered against modern threats. It had no nuclear, biological or chemical protection on the early marks. The crew compartment was painfully cramped. The engine roared inside the hull, and the steering wheel was canted 45 degrees away from the driver. The fuel tank doubled as the bulkhead between the crew and the engine. It was loud, hot, and harder to drive than any modern vehicle. And yet it worked. It worked in the jungles of Malaya. It worked in the wadis of Aden. It worked in the streets of Belfast. It worked in the deserts of Iraq. It worked in over 36 nations across 4 continents. In the spring of 2025, in the village of Nadiia in the Luhansk Oblast of Ukraine, a Ferret Mk was filmed in combat with the 3rd Assault Brigade, fitted with a wire cage to stop drone attacks. 73 years after it entered service, the smallest armoured car the British ever built was still fighting. That is not luck. That is British engineering. And it is the difference between a vehicle designed to look impressive and a vehicle designed to last.